Put your red shirt on and a brown coat too. Everybody's joining the crew. We got just one ring, let we rule them all. Hope fruit, remember your towel. Get your Uru feathers and your needler guns. A sonic screwdriver or a sword +1. Use Valerian steel if it will get you to come. To the pit tank. To the pit tank. The Rocky Mountain pit tank.
Hi, I'm Troy.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Geek Tank, your once again guileless-sized podcast. Although he might guileless, he might show up. We don't know. If we were betting, I would bet no, but I'm also not. I wouldn't give odds on that. So.
Righto.
All right. What is going on? Let's see. I found. I have to look it up. I found a website. Hello there, Bob. I found a website that has the majority of reality show that I like. Well, I guess it's more of a game show than a reality show. A game show called Taskmaster, which I don't remember if I've showed you any of those or not.
I think you mentioned it.
It's originally a British show, and the British one is the best one out of all of them. But I had discovered a few months ago, maybe half a year ago, that there's other countries that have it because they kind of licensed out the idea. So it's under the same name. And finding episodes of the other countries, like Portugal, I think of some other places that they have, New Zealand, Australia. I know that they have those. Some of those you can find on YouTube, but not all of them. And I found a website that has them all. So I was pretty excited about that.
Cool.
And I'm forgetting the name of it. So I'm going to see if I have it bookmarked somewhere.
Taskmasters.
Taskmasters. No, it's Taskmaster.
Right, but since it's all of them.
Yeah, no, it's a website that has access to a bunch of stuff, so it's not just Taskmaster. Any case, I think I posted the link on Facebook somewhere. I'll find it another time. Cool. But I've been catching up on a lot of that, and it's one of those shows that every now and then there's a show where it's like, man, wish I could be on that, but I'm not in the right category to get picked for it. But they get a bunch of comedians that are, I would say, some A-list, but mostly B-list and C-list comedians. And they have, over the course of like 6 weeks, they have to complete these challenges at the house. And a lot of times there'll be things where if they were to think outside the box, they would find clues and stuff that they leave around to figure out the challenges. So it's neat watching how different people think and how they approach it.
Cool.
That's my TV show passion, I'd say, for currently.
Gotcha.
Passion du jour.
Du jour.
Du jour.
I just finished watching The Devil May Cry season 1. I guess it's already been re-upped for season 2, and I enjoyed it. But I'm also not a Devil May Cry fan. The one person that I know of who is a huge Devil May Cry fan hates the show. But they also say that seems to be kind of the way it's going, that like the hardcore fans are not liking the show, but the people are kind of like, Devil May Cry, I know about that, are enjoying it. I did play the first Devil May Cry for a while and just kind of got bored with it. I didn't find that I don't know. Maybe I didn't give it enough time, but I played it for a couple hours and I was like, okay, this combat system is what it is. I'm not really enjoying this. Like I said, the show was pretty good.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I noticed that the late Kevin Conroy was a voice in it, the voice of Batman for the animated series.
Well, he's definitely not Batman in Devil May Cry.
No.
Who was he in Devil May Cry? I don't even know.
William Baines. I don't know the characters enough to know who that is.
I guess I'll look it up myself.
I have not watched it. I did play the first game. But if I remember correctly, it was one of those.
I've heard the second game is awful. Don't play it.
Okay. if I'm remembering, it's been a long time. It was sort of like God of War in that when you kill stuff, they drop things that charge up your powers, so you have to collect them before they vanish.
Yeah, and then there was like the it's definitely out of that era of action games and combos and switching up weapons and stuff like that. But no, it's the one I have it for Steam. I think it's the reboot. Um, Kevin Conroy, Baines. It did show that they did do a thing where, that's going to need a recast.
It's the a character that's still going.
Yeah. But yeah, they did. I did see at the beginning, like maybe the first episode, they were like, in memory of. I'm like, oh, I didn't know he died. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to start for my solo viewing. I'm probably going to start watching Andor.
Okay. Yeah, that's on my list. You haven't watched any of them yet, right? Or did you watch first season already?
No, I've not watched. I don't watch a lot of Star Wars anymore. I think I've watched through second season of Mandalorian. I did watch seasons 1 and probably season 2 of Visions. Which I quite enjoyed. The kiddo and I did watch Apprentice, and I know I mentioned that a few months ago. It was good. I was glad to see the Daphne, whose last name escapes me, the woman who played Laura from Logan.
Oh,
is in Acolyte. That was it, Acolyte. So that was cool.
I don't know how true it is because I didn't vet it, but I think that she's definitely playing X-23 in the next movie.
Awesome.
So I hope it's true. I hope it's not some stupid crap.
But... Yeah, watching Deadpool and Wolverine is like, wait, there's somebody, there's like another person here, and I'm like, it's her, and she comes in. I'm like, yes. I'm like, oh my god, so cool. So yeah, no, that was really cool. And then I played a little bit of V Rising. It's kind of like go out, you're a vampire and you have to like, do the survival stuff, like Don't Starve and all those other games of that type. And I played for like an hour or two, and then I stopped, and then I came back to it like a couple of weeks later, and then it's like, you have died. And like I respawned, and like most of the stuff that I'd collected was gone. And so you have died unknown. So I'm pretty sure like maybe just the sun baked me or something. But then I looked it up. It's like, yeah, if you die, then you need to go back to where your body was so they could pick up your loot bag. And I'm like, well, it's gone because I was gone for 2 weeks. And then I'm like, I played a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this thing, and I'm like second level. Right, I'm like killing like rats and skeletons and wolves and stuff, and I'm sort of like exploring. There's like no guidance on where I need to go or what to do, except for collect X number of this to craft that. So I'm kind of doing that thing, and then I get attacked by a level 36 treant, which didn't one-shot me. And you have enough starting abilities that I was like, I could actually kill this thing, but it's going to take me a good 15 minutes, maybe more. And fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's 15 minutes.
I'm in the starting zone. And you're going to throw something that's like literally 18 times my level. Fuck off.
So the game will kill you if you don't show up and play enough?
I guess. I don't know. That's what happened to me. And then it was just so funny because I was actually having this discussion with some other friends of mine on I think we were talking about like the Souls-like games, like the Demon Souls, the Dark Souls, the Sekiro, and the Bloodborne, the Elden Ring. And I was like, especially like the Dark Souls games have like this really cool lore going on. Like I know a little bit about it. I'm like, that's really neat. And like the aesthetic, the dying earth, yada yada. And I'm like, I really like I'm gonna use like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok or Ghost of Tsushima, especially Ghost of Tsushima. For the most part in those games, when you're fighting a boss level character, it's usually a pretty quick fight. And I was like, you know what? I've literally spent 3 hours trying to beat a God of War Ragnarok boss for a fight that takes like 4 or 5 minutes. So I had to try and try again 40 times, maybe 50, because sometimes you die immediately, sometimes you don't. As you learn, you get farther in. And I'd rather spend 3 hours doing that than spending 20 plus minutes on a boss fight that's intended to be 20 plus minutes.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's boring as shit.
Yeah.
But like, bomb into God of War, fight. Okay, failed. What did I learn? Go back into it. That's right up my alley. And like Ghost of Tsushima is a lot like that too, because it's like I wasn't playing on the hardest difficulty level, but I was definitely playing on a harder one than the basic one, which is like it's 1 and 2 shot kills all around. And so I'm like, but I like the highest difficulty level you actually have to you should actually research and do certain builds. And I didn't want to do that. I want to play the game that I wanted to play. So I did. And yeah, no, so that was interesting. Just that discussion. I'm like, yeah, that's stuff who cares?
I'm trying to remember the name of the game. I know it had dungeon in it, and I can't find it. It was a PC game. It was similar to Neverwinter Nights in that it was one of those side angles role-playing game, build your character. What was interesting about it is you wouldn't pick like, I'm a wizard and I have this many wizard points. You would just pick a few different aspects of your character, and then if you wanted to be a wizard, you have access to everything. So you would just cast Fireball and you keep casting magic, and as you use it, you get better at it. Similar to Skyrim, how they do that. And for my first playthrough, I was like, I'm going to make Link because one of the powers is you can throw bombs. So I was like, all right, I just need boomerangs, a bow, and a sword, and a shield, and can't throw bombs. And one of the first big boss monsters I found, there was some glitch in the game where it couldn't get through the door. It was like a giant spider. And I'm standing on the other side, and I'm like, have a bomb, have a bomb, have a bomb. So, yeah, but had that been a real fight, I'm sure I would have died and have to do it again.
Right.
But it's I don't mind dying and repeating it as long as I could see that it is possible, even if I'm not succeeding at it. But yeah, spending 15 minutes on something is a weird way to pad out your game.
Yeah.
That
I would definitely have been like, because the abilities all have cooldown, so I couldn't just be like, spam the counter magic button. I'd have to be like, counter magic, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. Oh, counter magic, run away. And it's like, oh, come on. Let's get real here. So I uninstalled it. Goodbye. 17 gigabytes back.
Deleted.
Yep. Uninstalled. I bought it on sale. So it was like $25-$30. I want to say the $25. I bought it on sale, and I didn't get my money's worth. It's not like, say, I was playing for a while. I was playing Unicorn Overlord, which is kind of not my style of game. It's a tactics game, and I generally kind of like, I'm usually take and or leave those. Usually leave. But I bought that game for like $30, and I played the crap out of it until I got to the point where I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to spend like literally 2 hours or so re-equipping and respecking all my characters and my squads. This game isn't that fun. It's like, yeah, we're done here.
I've been getting together once a week with a mutual friend of ours to play board games. and finally got to play a game that had been on my radar for a long time. I own it. My copy's still in shrink wrap. Called Scythe. Have you played it or heard of it?
I've not.
Trying to find a good description here of it. The universe is interesting. So it's set in a time of unrest in the 1920s Europa. The ashes from the First Great War still darken the snow. The capitalistic city-state known as the Factory, which fueled the war with heavily armored mechs, has closed its doors, drawing the attention of several nearby countries. So you're playing a 1920s era country trying to race to this factory and salvage mechs and do other stuff. That's the concept of it. Overall, the mechanic is one of those worker placements and looking at the synergies and the stacking that you have to do, because to do one thing, it helps to do this other thing first. And then there's this whole chain, and figuring out where you want to jump in the chain to trigger the effect is a big part of the game.
Cool. Bob says that he enjoys Scythe.
Yeah.
Donald says remembers in WoW, World of Warcraft, expansion area, and couldn't party up to get kills, so would kite them to guards and still get kills. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Unintended consequences. Do it. And also, it's like, I don't know, to go back to like the Souls games and the Souls-like games, like there's oftentimes people are like, that's against the game. If you're not doing it this way, then you're not really playing. It's like, well, the developers put it in there, so I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think you're saying that only people who do a challenge run of the game the same way you like to challenge run the game is engage the game correctly, and that's just wrong. Especially with games like the Souls-like games, or even like Ghost of Tsushima. Like, the game will kill you, and you'll have to reload, and it gives no shits. So if you can sit there and do the same to it, by all means, come on. Speaking about board games, though, like I'd heard that there's a really good game named Let's Go to Japan. That's like people doing a trip to Japan, and so
it's on my radar. I saw on Marketplace somebody had it for sale, but it was already sold by the time I was going to jump on it. But it totally fits the theme for the game room that I run. So
cool. And then what was I thinking of? I would love to play. What is it named? It's a hot shit game right now.
I agree with you, Donald. Gamer uses what they are given and thinks outside of the box.
Yeah. Expedition 33. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is supposed to be extra hot great. And I really, really want to play it, and my PC can't handle it, and I'm going to have to be sad and cry about it.
It looks pretty.
Super pretty. Lots of ways to break it, and that is intentional.
Nice.
A lot less. So like lots of different characters with lots of different builds to really crack that game over your knee. And the story's supposed to be awesome. So awesome that like everyone I know who's talking about it are like, let's not spoil it for anybody else. You know, I'm like, that's super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then what else? I went to a book signing tonight.
Oh.
And it was run fairly well. There's only a couple things that I would have changed. It was for Joe Abercrombie, who writes. I'm going to settle with the term grimdark. But I like to think of his works as more earn your happy ending. And then it was also a local author, Stephen Graham Jones, was there. He's a Native American writer, and he writes primarily horror, which of course he gets a lot of flack about. Or there's people who give a lot of flack. It's like, you're a Native American, why are you writing horror? It's like, what? That
Does-
doesn't track. That doesn't track.
So do only white men get to write horror?
Yeah, like horrible things have happened to you and your people. Obviously, you can't write about it, any of it, as a catharsis, and put vampires and werewolves and shit in it too. Yeah, my spouse is reading his most recent book now, or has finished it, and said it was really, really good and really gross. And they have read other books by him as well. This was set up like there was no reading from the book, which I don't think I've seen that at an author signing before, but it was still cool because it was Joe Abercrombie was being interviewed by Stephen Graham Jones, and as another writer, and they actually spent some time together tabling somewhere once before, so they had wound up just talking, and he had some questions prepared, and of course good follow-up questions. Then they opened it up to audience questions. Then it was sign time. So it was first come, first serve on your position in line. And I'm like, okay, I get it. The signing started, it started at 6. It really started closer to 7. But there had been people there since like 4 o'clock.
Oh wow!
To get up close, up close for the interaction, and also to farther up in line. And excuse me. One thing that I thought was really, really weird was that they did not have any limit on the number of books you could have signed. Usually, it's copy of the book, of the new book, like probably one of the more restrictive ones I've been to was when I went to see Neil Stephenson at the Boulder Bookstore for The System of the World, the final book in the Baroque cycle, which is a trilogy, or was a trilogy of hardcovers and mass markets. It's split up into finer because those books are door stoppers. But they were like, you get to sign, because I took the other 2 books in the trilogy, because it was for the 3rd book, and I was going to buy that there and go through the thing. And they're like, okay, well, you can only have one other book, the current book and one other book. I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of crappy, but I get it. He doesn't want to be here all night. And so I was like, we walk up, and I hand him the book, and then one of the others, like I think probably the 1st book in the series.
Yeah, goes, makes sense.
What about the 3rd one? I go, oh, they told me I can only do one other book. He's like, you brought all 3 of them. I'm signing all 3. I'm like, thank you.
Nice.
And so Neil Stephenson is really fucking cool. Like, okay, so story time. So at that particular book signing, I walked up to him, and actually before we had which books you're going to sign, blah, 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 I said, I couldn't help but notice you have very well developed forearms. And he goes, and he kind of looks at me, and I go, do you study? And he looks at me some more, and I go, are you a swordsman? And he goes, yes, I am. I'm like, cool, same. And we talked a little bit of shop, and then I actually gave him my email address, and he emailed me, and we had a short conversation via email, maybe half a dozen, back and forth. That was back when I was Akuma guy at portalofevil.com.
I remember that one.
And I actually, when they shut down the servers, I realized too late I should have forwarded those emails to my new email address. Just for my own notification.
Yeah.
Epilogue to the story. I often read books to my partner. Like I've read all the Joe Abercrombie first law books to them, and I've read all these Neil Stephenson books to them as well. And so I'm reading the most recent one, the most recent one, Dodge in Hell, I think was its name. I think it came out after 7 Eves. Gosh, it's been so long, don't remember. But anyway, I'm reading them Dodge in Hell. And I get to this point where I'm like, this is a me. like he doesn't like describe somebody doing this, but it's like one of the characters, they go on this date with somebody, they mention this. I'm like, that's from me. And I'm like, and that's when I was like, I wish I still had his email address. I would have been like, hey, we met at the Boulder bookstore for your signing for this, and I brought that up, and that is on this page here in your new book. Can you please send me pictures of the manuscript with this part?
Yeah.
Get them printed out, put them on my wall.
And thank you for.
And thank you. And
yes.
I mean, like, I know you don't. I know you probably don't remember who I am, but you might, because you're a mad fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I would love to just have that like in a little display. Is
there no way to contact him?
I'm me.
Mm-hmm.
I could get a hold of him if I really wanted to. I don't. He seems to be a bit more reclusive than he used to be, and I want to respect that.
Yeah.
And no,
so he doesn't have social media presence where he
I'm not really big on the social media myself. And so I imagine that if he's on any social media, he's got somebody managing it, because that dude's got a lot of irons in the fire.
Mm-hmm. But there's a chance that, well, I mean, yeah, anybody halfway in the game is going to have someone that manages them, because otherwise, how are you going to succeed at the thing you're trying to do? You need to have people running stuff. If we actually became successful, we would get people to run our social media stuff, which I think if we got people to run our social media stuff, that would help with us getting successful. One of those catch-22s.
Well, I'm just going to say that I think we need to have a producer first.
Yeah. So the producer would be the one who would point out we need social media.
Yeah. But no. So I mean, that was super cool.
Yeah, it looks like he's on. I still call it Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But so he does have a presence there, or at least to sell books and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you ever decide you want to try a non-evasive way to get a hold of him, but don't want to put forth the effort, I don't mind, since I have more social media presence at places.
Honestly, I figure what's going to happen is I'm going to go to one of his book signings and just bring it up.
That'd be great.
And give him my card. Just, yeah.
Oh, so Donald was asking about the new Howard the Duck sequel, and I haven't looked into that. So.
Yeah, I'm not a Howard the Duck fan, so it's not been on my radar at all. Right, Marvel owns the rights. Yeah. It depends on what they want to do with it. Like, I have no clue.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for the new Superman movie?
No.
I
don't. Please remember, I typically don't watch trailers.
That's right. I usually don't seek them out, but sometimes they pop up, and if it looks interesting enough, I'll watch it.
Yeah. The only time I ever watch trailers is when I'm actually in a theater. Just how I found out about Death of a Unicorn that took the kiddo to. And justice was served. Anyway, so what about the trailer? Is it cool?
Well, yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's James Gunn, and it's very James Gunn-esque. So all of his movies could be shown back to back, and you'd easily tell it's from the same director, even though it's entirely different genres, or Marvel versus DC, whatever. But a choice that they made I thought was interesting was his suit looks way more like the old 1960s black and white TV show Superman suit than that. So it's not full of muscles and such.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting.
Cool.
They had a bunch of characters that I have no idea who they are, because I'm not a DC fan or a superhero fan. But they did have the super dog, Crypto.
Okay.
In it. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I took the kiddo to go watch like the superhero pets movie last summer or the summer before, and Keanu Reeves was Batman, voicing Batman in that one. It was a pretty fun little movie. At the end of it, it's like the Batman and the Batman dog analog both have like a little side-by-side monologue. It was like, when I was a child, my parents were taken from me. My family was taken from me. And the dog's like, when I was a child, I was taken from my family. And it was great.
Nice.
That part was worth the price of admission, especially since admission was something like $2. It wasn't a big deal. We should probably do our sponsors.
Yeah, we are 2 minutes past that. He's too busy talking about stuff. And that would be this button here. So, Geek Tank is sponsored by Kieran Games, Geekway Homes, The Massage Wizard, and
Your mom.
Your Mom. I took a bigger breath that time. So.
Oh, I didn't know we were. I would have gone longer.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then yes, that was cool. And then Wild Robot's going to be on streaming soon. Book was better, but I found the movie quite enjoyable.
What's interesting is one of my kiddos really likes the book, but has zero interest in seeing the movie. I'm like, okay,
that's cool. And like I think I've wound up telling someone recently, they were like telling me how they how it had come up in conversation that they hadn't seen the Spider-Verse movies.
Oh,
and I'm like,
they're the best ones.
They're the best Spider-Man movies ever, like ever. It's like, so hopefully they'll see them soon. And I did loan a copy of the first Joe Abercrombie First Law novel, The Blade itself, where they to a friend of mine. After reading them, the passage I always read to people to get them interested. And then I also picked up another copy of Snow Crash. I can't find my copy of Snow Crash. And I thought it was really interesting. Like during the interview portion of tonight, Joe Abercrombie was saying how like what's his name, Elroy, the guy who wrote LA Confidential. And he said that that he loved it, especially because it's three characters approaching the same case, just like in the movie, and the author is really great at differentiating the characters' voices and methods and point of view, so that way it reads like three intertwining novels. And he's like, how come no fantasy author's doing this? And he goes, and then I read Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. And I really want, like, so when it came to so anyway, to go back to the book signing, sorry, tangent. I really wanted to get at least one of my other hardcovers signed. Mm-hmm. And also I want to tell him, it's like, Mr. Abercrombie, like I've read your entire First Law series to my spouse aloud, and Martin always puts the character name at the top of his chapter, so you know if you're reading for Tyrion or Jaime or Bran or blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. You don't do that. And I'll tell you this, I know within the first sentence or two which character I'm reading for, because you got it.
Mm-hmm. Like, nice. Yeah. You don't need to be reminded.
Yeah. And also, I mean, like his writing is so strong, you know?
Yeah. So. Yeah, you loaned me Snow Crash way back when we first met.
I love that book.
And it is great, and gave back to you, and I bought a copy like within a few months because I wanted to loan it out to other people.
It's so good. Yeah. Like and whenever I loan out Snow Crash to anybody, I always read the first chapter. And that's what I started doing that actually, because I used to tell people who are looking for a near future cyberpunk and all that, I'd tell them, okay, well, go, any well-appointed bookstore will have a copy of this book. Read through the first or second paragraph of chapter 2. That is about page 12 in the mass market. If you like what you are reading, buy it and keep reading it. And I told somebody this out in front of Mile High Con several years ago. I was like telling me, like, oh, have you tried this book? Blah, 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 blah. And when I'm done doing my little spiel, one of the guys I'm with, he hands me his phone, and he's got a PDF of Snow Crash on it. So I do a dramatic reading of the first chapter, and I hand it back to him. Everyone's like, dude, A, that book is great. B, you're amazing at reading this book. Because I love reading aloud to people. It's called The First Law. It's the world of the First Law. The the first trilogy is named the First Law Trilogy. The first book is responding to Donald.
Yes.
The first book is named The Blade Itself, as in the blade itself incites deeds of violence. The second book is named Before They Are Hanged. The third book is named The Last Argument of Kings. And then there are 3 more books. And then in publishing order, there's also a book of short stories. And then there's a second trilogy. The 3 books in the between are standalone books. It is fantasy. I don't call it grimdark. I call it Earn Your Happy Ending. Some of it, like Best Served Cold is the 4th book, is there's a lot of torture in it. But the books are all in chronological order except for the short stories. That book is of course separate. And then so what you find is that you got your kind of, it actually starts off very much as like a fellowship type of thing. And they do their thing, and then the next book is a revenge tale. Like the first trilogy takes place a lot in, or the main country is very much a very European, type of fantasy world. Like by European I mean like Austria type Central Europe. The second book, it takes place in the analog. It's analogous to like Warring States Italy. The next book is named The Heroes, and that is a fantasy war novel. The first bit of book is the prelude to the battle. The most of the book is the 3 to 4 days of the battle, and the final bit is the aftermath. And then the next book is named Red Country, which is actually the one I wanted him to sign. And that is a straight up fantasy Western. Like the story starts, there's a person, they're in town, they're selling stuff, they're selling their crop, they're buying stuff to take back to the homestead, and they've got their handyman with them, or their laborer, their farmhand, and they get back and the fields are burned, the kids are gone, we're on the run, we're chasing them down. And it is super good. Joe Abercrombie, he finishes stuff. His newest book is named The Devils. As far as I know, it's a standalone. It's definitely not within any of his other series, because he does do The First Law, The World of the First Law, and he also did another book called another trilogy called the Inner Sea Trilogy, I think. And all those books have the word shatter or shattered in the title. I haven't read those. My spouse did and enjoyed them. But yeah. Oh, Dragonlance books. Yep. Good times.
I found the cover of at least one of them.
Yeah, that's I don't know if I want that version of it. But I do want one of the UK versions of the first book. It looks like that's a collection.
Yeah.
The first book, because I have the UK versions of the other 2 books in the trilogy. And I love the Last Argument of Kings. When I saw that was because I found the first 2 books in like the library for sale area. I'm like, this is kind of a cool cover art. It's kind of like a little bit splashy line work. And I was like, oh, is that a trilogy? Okay, second book. And what's the third book? The Last Argument of Kings. Well, as anybody who remembers this part from Snow Crash, you know that the Last Argument of Kings is what the Sun King, Louis XIV, had stamped on all cannon that were made during his reign. Ultima Ratio Regum. So I'm like, I'm getting into this series. I'm at least going to read these 3, and it turns out they're great. In fact, like if I had a copy of it right here, which I loaned out to a friend of mine, I would read you the 8 or so pages I read to everybody to get them to read this book. It's so good.
Should do if we ever get our act together, should do little clips as in addition to our show that we just post later, and we could just post Alex reads a book and then post just that. Alex's book choice of the day or of the week
Yeah,
or whatever it is.
books you should read.
We used to years ago, back in 2014, when we very first started Geek Tank, and we were throwing ideas at the wall to make it stick because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just knew we wanted to do something. We were coming up because we did a 30-minute show, and eventually it turned into an hour. But we would come up with little segments, and we did have Geek Book Corner, and we'd get a different person or sometimes the same person, depending on who it was that wanted to volunteer. And they would do a quick little 2-3 minute, like, I like this book that I read recently because X, Y, and Z type thing. And so then eventually I'm like, editing's hard. It's a job, and we're not getting paid, so I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, Don says like a book chapter of the week. Yeah, I'd love to just do like little splashes, like you should read this book, and here's an excerpt from it, or I would totally do Snow Crash first chapter or the first part of the chapter entitled "The King of the Northmen" from the Blade itself.
Nice.
And I got all these other books and stuff. Yeah, we're going through a lot of our stuff, getting rid of stuff. I took a bunch of stuff to Black and Red, and the rest we'll try to garage sale, and then after that, donate. Some stuff I'm like looking at, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really into this anymore. I did and then also did a what's it called? I just reread Arkham Asylum, the one that was art by Dave McKean, and it's cool. But I'm like, do we want to read this again? No, okay. Yeah, books on tape are too expensive. Actually, did I mention I would love a particular book on tape? I think I mentioned it last.
You mentioned it last week, but go ahead, do it again.
Oh yeah, I just did Dale Cooper, My Life, My Tapes, as read by the actor who plays Dale Cooper. But and I actually do still have some books on tape. I have the first 3, maybe 4 Dark Tower books on tape as read by Stephen King. Because since he has a professional voice talent doing them now, or did them, the series is done. But I really did enjoy listening to him read those books. Oh yeah, Hobbit. Yep. Yeah. I used to read Snow Crash every year, or at least read the first 80 pages, which is mostly the world building, which I love.
Do you know if Guy has read Snow Crash?
I don't know if he has.
Because if he's going to run a Cyberpunk game, we could put in a request that maybe you should read this first when you're thinking of your world that you're going to build.
Right. But he said he might just do Cyberpunk Red or something. Well, I don't know what he's going to plan to do with that.
So I found the name of the game I was talking about earlier. It's called Dungeon Siege. It came out in 2002.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now. I've been reading our child the complete books of Earthsea. So we're in the book after Tehanu. Tehanu was really good reading it as an adult. I missed so much as a kid when I read it. When a teenager. Just I didn't have the experience. Sort of like Le Guin says that she took so long between writing the original trilogy and Tehanu because she needed to grow up. She needed to be an adult to write Tehanu. And I'm like, I kind of see that now. I needed to be an adult to read it and appreciate it. Shadowrun books, yeah. Big time. Or I've got this got these Red Star books. They're totally modern day magic and spirit realms and stuff too.
So Joan's saying that she's decided that if she ends up on her deathbed, she's going to read Lord of the Rings trilogy like Bill Hicks did.
Bill Hicks, the man, the prophet. Orange drink.
Yeah, I remember when Joan and I know each other outside of the show. She had mentioned she is a fan of Bill Hicks, and I said, "Have you read Preacher?" And the answer was no. So this is too morbid.
I'm in the goth scene where Adams is. We're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay? So Joan asked if that has said they've already decided if they end up on their deathbed, they'll read the Lord of the Rings trilogy like Bill Hicks did. What would be my deathbed series?
Green eggs and ham. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a lot of books that I love, and in fact, Lord of the Rings might be one of the ones I reread. I did fall in love with Lord of the Rings when I was about 10ish. And I've read it since then, but I haven't read it recently. Probably more foundational to my self, though, is probably the original Earthsea trilogy. Very small volumes, but those books are amazingly good. Just amazingly good. The themes that they explore in those slim volumes. But I do love. I mean, I might reread Dark Tower. I going through our stuff. I found my box of Dark Tower books, which is the original printings in the magazine of Science Fiction Fantasy, which I thought I put up here. Maybe I didn't. But the original printings of the first 5 stories that make up the Gunslinger. My second edition hardcover of Gunslinger, my second printing, I guess I should say, and then my first printings of all the other ones. And I'm missing Wind Through the Keyhole. I know I've read it. I must have gotten it from the library. But I do want to get a first printing of that as well. I'm sick black and red on that one. Even though it is flawed, the main the instigating bad guy should not be Flag. Should be the guy from Needful Things, whose name escapes me. But no, it was good. It's good stuff. Like I said, A Wizard of Earthsea, The Tombs of Atuan, The Farthest Shore. Amazingly good books. So that's probably the first one I'll read because it's small and be like, okay, how long am I going to be on this deathbed for? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm rereading my Ninja High School trade paperbacks. I'm probably going to get rid of those. But there's like, I thought that maybe my kid would like them, but there are so many old anime in-jokes in it. She won't get that thing's a Gundam. She won't get that that's from Fist of the North Star. She won't get that she'll get that that's Genma Panda form in the background in this one, but not that that's Lum from Urusei Yatsura.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got tons of comics too, like the Preacher comics. That's my spouse's favorite comic series. I have 100 Bullets, the whole run of that, which is amazingly good.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of my comics over there. I got Transmet. I have manga down there too. And
did Jeff ever put that scene that he filmed with you that was from 100 Bullets like anywhere that people could watch it? Or
I think he just gave it to. I think it's just me. I think only I have it. I guess I should give that to you.
Yeah. Get it out to the internet for people.
Yeah.
So my kiddo had to do a report recently for someone in the house, and it was so vague. It was like, get someone in the house to tell you about an accomplishment they did that they're proud of type thing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, dude, take your pick. So I give him this long list of stuff that his mom has done. I give him a long list of stuff that I had done. I'm like, were you looking for something serious, something comical? Because we run the whole gamut. And he's like, well, I don't want to do anything too heavy. I'm like, well, I'm pretty proud of winning Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Comedy in my very first go at a film contest. Mm-hmm. And so I showed him that and was explaining to him the rules. And then he's like, did you do any other movies? And he watched like all of them. And nice. And he was watching the one that we did that was making fun of kids shows. Mm-hmm. And he was cracking up. And we did the thing with the electric company. I'm like, yeah, that's from a show you've never watched. He's like, no, I get the reference because they did that on Family Guy.
Right. So. Yeah. Yeah, mostly comics. Yeah, Preacher's great. And then I was gonna say Northlanders was a really good series. It's like 5 or 6 trade paperbacks. There's some of them that are just one-off short stories, so it's a collection in one trade paperback, but most of them are one book, one storyline. That was a really good one that I just reread too, going, should I keep these? And I'm like, yes, I should. And then like Hellblazer, gosh, like, yeah, good old John Constantine. I read a few of those, and then I was just reminded of Hellboy and how I kind of hate Mike Mignola's artwork. I kind of always have. But Hellboy in Hell is amazing. I've been using that word a lot, but it's really, really good. And I read it from the library in a large prestige format, and I was like, yeah.
So for the question I was asked earlier about Howard the Duck, I think April 1st is the wrong day to release a movie on, because I don't know if people are going to believe it has been released, but it's supposedly scheduled for April 1st as release. And Howard the Duck was voiced by Seth Green. So
in the new one?
In the new one.
I guess the new one, yeah. The old one.
Yeah.
Probably not.
He probably wasn't born yet.
Right. Let me see. Yeah, I have handed my kiddo like all the Usagi Yojimbo books I have to read. But yeah, Preacher, I pulled out my entire set of the Max. I don't have any trades of those. Those are all singles.
Donald mentioned Alan Dean Foster, and I remember the
oh yeah,
Splinter in the Mind's Eye, I believe was Alan Dean Foster. Or
Star
I think
Wars.
Yeah, I think it
Totally
was.
Yeah, and also like Feist. God, that guy wrote so many books. Whew.
Yeah. In my early teen years, I got really heavily into the Destroyer series, which is is tongue-in-cheek action. So Remo Williams, which they made a movie of, which when they made the movie, I'm like, wait a minute, they're making a movie about an assassin that kills people, and it's 1980 something. This movie's not going to fly very well, and it didn't, because they had to make it PG-13, which but yeah, and you could tell when you read it, especially even as a teenager, since I was so much into martial arts then, that the guys who wrote it only kind of knew martial arts, because they would then he took some pointy things and threw them at him.
Oh my, not the pointy things.
Not the pointy things. But the scene that sticks out the most with me, for those who don't know, Remo Williams from the Destroyer series was trained in this made-up martial arts that's like the best martial arts ever.
What?
And it's so good, you can dodge bullets.
What?
I know. And you have complete control over your body. But there's a scene where an assassin tried to kill him by seducing him and putting a device on his genitals that was going to like constrict all the way down and squish him off, is how he was going to die. But because he has complete control over his body, he flexed and they broke, and then he took a piece and threw it at her and killed her. So it's so stupid but funny.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I used to read like a serious version of that. The Eric von Lustbader novels. And that's his name.
Yeah.
And it's like the Ninja, the Miko, White Ninja, all these other books that aren't in the Ninja Nicholas Lanier series. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Burroughs. Yeah. Like I never read the Tarzan books, but I love me Conan. Like I've got or like Burroughs. No, Conan. Maybe Burroughs wrote Conan the Destroyer, but like the original ones were Robert E. Howard, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and like I loved reading those books. Like in fact, like I've revisited those books, those stories more than I've revisited Lovecraft. I read Lovecraft when I read it a lot when I was a teenager, and like I start reading a story. I'm like, oh, I've read stories by authors that were influenced by you, or were influenced by the people you influenced. So I know what's happening here, but I still have to say, The Color Out of Space. That is a hell of a story.
I never
there was a movie.
Yeah, I never saw the movie adaptation of it.
I've got it. If you want to watch it.
Oh well, if you own it, it must be decent.
I own it. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a mutual friend of ours that you do board games with gave it to me for my birthday.
That makes sense. I probably could have a streaming service that it's on, so I'll just watch it through there if that's the case. Otherwise, if we're going to start up interview with a vampire Friday nights, maybe on one of the nights we could toss that in too.
So Joan asked if I like the movie adaptation. I do like it. So the story is basically somebody coming in after the fact, where it's like kind of reconstructing what happened through what they can from other people and documents and blah blah blah. And I really enjoy it. The movie is the shit's happening. It's not like after the fact, but no, it's good, quite good.
Nice. Speaking of Nicolas Cage movies, I recommended this to you a while back.
Renfield?
No, Renfield was decent too.
Yeah.
But Wally's Wally World.
Oh.
Which is the I'm sorry, Willy's Wonderland. I had to look it up. It's the before Five Nights at Freddy's the movie came out. The person who wrote Willy's Wonderland took the concept, put their own twist on it, and then made it. And it is Evil Dead 2 level tongue-in-cheek action violence.
All right.
And when I started watching it, I'm like, I'm just watching this because I know Nicolas Cage is crazy and he runs the gambit of type of acting that he chooses to do. And I really liked it, and I think you would like it too.
Cool. Here for it.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank Frazetti's Conan art? Yeah, totally. Like I think Conan's awesome. And I love reading the stories like I've got a couple trade paperback collections of Conan stories, and they're in publishing date order, and it reads a lot like this is old man Conan just talking about his adventures. Oh yeah, and then I was doing this thing, and oh yeah, and now I'm King Conan. Oh yeah, that reminds me when I was this thing that happened when I was king, and this is that's great. Cool. Donald says, let's see a podcast with Keanu and the guy from I Married an Axe Murderer. They would have some fun insights to a space fantasy perspective on where film is going.
You mean the actor Mike Myers from I Married an Axe Murderer? I think if you're talking about the actor that's in it, that's who I think was in it. I'm quickly looking it up to see if I'm thinking of the right movie. Yeah, a 1993 film with Mike Myers, yes, and Nancy Travis. I remember this film because it opens with, I remember The Stupidest Things from the longest time ago. But the film, and I've only seen the film like twice years ago, but it opens with the camera behind a cup of like cappuccino, and it's following it through the coffee house as the credits are coming up that they have to go through. And it comes up to Mike Myers and he takes it, and it's like gigantic. And he goes, "Excuse me, I ordered the large cappuccino." And then at some point in it, they use the song There She Goes Again at least 3 times, but probably more. And when it came on like the 3rd or 4th time, my friend and I was with her. I was like, "There's that song. There's that song again."
Cool. Good night, Bob.
Anyway, good night, Bob. Yes, yeah, Mike Myers. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Oh. They would have them from the sites. I'm just trying to read to space and fantasy perspective. Oh, and where film in general is going. I got you now. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I haven't heard anything else about the spinoff of mentioning Keanu Reeves about John Wick, the ballerina movie, I think. So, but I did see a little clip of behind the scenes of Keanu Reeves and the main female actress training a fight scene move, and so doing it over and over again at quarter speed. And so,
yep,
that was neat. All right. Well, we are at our 10:01, and the next John Wick is out. You mean Beyond 4?
I guess that's ballerina.
Oh,
that's cool. I should go see it.
Didn't realize it was out already. this is not the same ballerina. Oh no, this is the same ballerina. One of them's like came out in 2023, and then this is like ballerina 2025 film. I'm looking at two different films here. I did not realize it was already out. I'm trying to confirm. It's an ode code, but it checks out. I take your word for it. Yeah, June. It says release date's June 6th.
Oh my!
So
June 6th.
Yeah, that's
2 days after my birthday.
It's according to they have trailers, yes, but I don't know if they released it early or not. But yeah, there are trailers out. It says it hits theaters June 6th. So there you go.
Cool.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for watching. I guess I'll text Guy and see if everything's okay.
Sure.
Who knows? And coming up soon, I will probably be out of town, which was going to make podcasting for me difficult. So if Guy does not get his computer set up right to where he can load the show and run it, we might not be having shows for a while.
Okay.
So not next Monday, but yeah, the Monday starting in June. So I will be back no later than June 9th, but any stuff you plan before June 9th, I won't be able to be a part of.
Okay.
So for the karaoke, definitely need that later.
Right. Yep.
Alrighty.
Cool, man.
Thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate the interaction. Have a good night. Be safe, everyone. This is I forgot our sign off. I've been Troy.
And I've been Alex.
And this is Geek Tank.